Hey guys, Omni here. We're finally going to be diving into Amazon Prime's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I've been really looking forward to this series ever since it was first announced. It's got a lot riding on it as far as Amazon's concerned, being one of the most, I think the most expensive TV show of all time. And I think they even put out a statement like not too long ago, is like, if we can't make this work, what are we even doing with the streaming service? So they had pretty much said that like the future of Amazon Prime as a streamer kind of rides on how this show goes. So they're placing their bets on this. I think they've spent over $1 billion between the rights, marketing, and then of course the budget for the show on making this thing happen. So they are really rolling the dice on this one, but it's Amazon, man. Who knows? They can lose sometime, man. But I from everything we've seen about it so far, I've been really intrigued. I've got high hopes for this. The trailers have impressed me, all but the last one. And it wasn't the trailer itself. It was just the musical choice. I thought it didn't really mesh with what we were seeing. But aside from that, all the trailers have really instilled some confidence in me. I haven't seen anything that's kind of steered me away. And I'm excited to see this era of Middle-earth, Valinor, all that has never been really depicted outside of, illustrations here or there, which vary greatly in their depiction from, like novelization or record to record. So I'm curious to see something that is kind of more aesthetically in line with what we're more familiar with as far as the general public with the Peter Jackson films and all of that, but also kind of going into an era where we're going to be seeing some things that we wouldn't have seen during that point, during the Third Age and what have you. But yeah, man, that said, I'm really excited to finally dive into this. We got the first 2 episodes out. I'm going to be trying to get at least one of these out per day for now until we're on the weekly set schedule. So should be having episode 1 coming out today being Friday, and then the second one should be coming out the following day on Saturday. That's my plan right now, sticking to it unless something happens. But if you want to see the full-length reaction to these episodes, you can check those out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, gets you access as well. It is in watch-along format, so just sync up your own footage with the time code. You see my reaction to the entire thing. You got the same thing for all the other shows we cover here on the channel. You also get to put forth suggestions and vote on what movies we react to each month. We got monthly Q&As, behind-the-scenes footage to try to make it worth your while since you are going out of your way to support the channel. But of course, I know not everybody can do that, and the simple way you can help us out is just by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these videos, because it really does go a long way with helping us grow here on the YouTubes. With that all said and out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and hop into, finally, the first episode of Season 1 of 5, assuming that this works out, of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Episode 1, A Shadow of the Past. Here we go.
When the world was so young, there had not yet been a sunrise. But even then, there was light.
Sometimes the lights shine just as brightly reflected in the water as they do in the sky. How am I to know which lights to follow? But that seems so simple.
The most important truths often are. But you must learn to discern them for yourself. I won't always be here to speak them to you.
We had no word for death, for we thought our joys would be unending.
Dude, that's so gorgeous.
We thought our light would never dim.
Oh, wow.
Foe Morgoth destroyed the very light of our home. Elves went to war. We left
Yo!
our home and journeyed to a distant realm, a place known as Middle-earth.
Dude! Wow, this looks really good.
They said it would be over quickly. But the war left Middle-earth.
Wow.
Now, we learned many words for death. Morgoth would be defeated, but not before much sorrow, for his orcs had spread to every corner of Middle-earth.
Ooh.
Under the command of his most devoted servant, they called him Sauron. My brother vowed to seek him out and destroy him, but Sauron found him first and marked his flesh with a symbol. One whose meaning even our wisest could not discern. His vow became mine. And for many elves, began to believe that Sauron was but a memory. I wish I could be one of them.
Hell yeah, man.
There's nothing out here. We should have been there by now.
Oh, whoa. Dude, you're gonna hear that a lot with all these things we get to see in this show, man. I'm a sucker for some great fantasy visuals. Ooh, what that?
These orcs were meddling with the powers of the unseen world. Some dark sorcery of old. Water. He was here.
Something's skulking up there in the rocks. Oh, dude, is it a troll? Yo! Oh, God. Hell yeah.
We march at first light.
Then you shall do so alone.
Oh, this music. It's a really strong opener, man. I really like that. I love the use of the map. Dude.
Clear and clear.
Oh, they're hiding. Yeah, man.
Travelers, at this time of year.
It's an omen.
More than likely they just got lost. That's it. Has to be the reason.
The winds are still out there.
Oh, buddy!
It looks like a footsie. Just a dog. You know how dogs love berries.
Not quite. Yo.
Your friend has arrived.
She's here. Why didn't you say so?
Dude.
Galadriel.
Elrond.
I love seeing all the imagery and stuff.
I half expected you to arrive caked in grime and mud.
This time frostbite and troll blood. And no army.
For though Morgoth fell an age ago, these soldiers have swept across crag and crevice, washing away the last remnants of our enemy like a spring rain.
Elrond wrote his speech. That's what I'm gathering here.
They will be escorted to the Grey Havens and granted passage across the sea to dwell for all eternity. The undying lands of Valinor. At last
All but Galadriel, maybe. I say maybe because I don't know if all of them are going to go. I know for a fact she stayed. Yo, dude. The butterfly. Wow, man. Dude, you just tell they spent all the money on this show, man.
Put up your sword.
Without it, what am I to be?
What you have always been, my friend.
That's a really good scene.
Karayas in 3 moves.
Arondir. Has it really been a fortnight already?
Care for a drink, soldier? Well, my well is yours, as ever.
And the poisoning?
What poisoning?
The one we were just discussing.
A fellow passed through a few days back, said his grazing's gone rotten. There, only weeds will grow.
On what day was he here?
Oh, let it go, knife ears. The lot you lump us in with died off 1,000 years ago. When are you people gonna let the past go? Our true king will return and pry us right out from under your pointy boots.
Easy, lad. Quench the fire.
Come on, lad.
I already like this guy.
Are there healers among your kind?
There are. But we call them artificers. Our bodies heal of their own accord, so it is their labor instead to render hidden truths as works of beauty. And for beauty has great power to heal the soul.
And I hope you find Alfrin flowers beautiful.
This place looks familiar.
And you believe this place was once a barren scrap of rock?
It has changed much, Watchwarder.
But the men who live here have not. But for 79 years you've kept watch over the men and women of Tirharad, not because of what their ancestors once did, but because of who they still are. And be grateful that you need never see them again.
Again, these landscapes, man. Love it. I like how we're like bouncing around and really kind of setting the stage.
Hardly slept. Mice were dancing a proper jig under the floorboards.
Again?
What's one of them doing here?
I heard you were leaving. Where's the rest of your company?
Most likely searching for me.
Say what you wish to say.
I have said it already. 100 times over, in every way but words.
There's a man here for you.
She wandered east a few days ago. Think she might have hit something.
Oh.
How far east?
She might have made it as far as Horden.
Where are you going?
Horden's a day's journey. If I leave now, I can reach it by dusk.
I'm going with you.
Blah.
Mighty sweet back of his well the other day.
Who told you that?
Everybody. Maybe that's why your father run off like he done.
My father didn't run off.
Then what happened to him?
He is Arondir. Totally.
Salty rascal's got the king's bounty down there.
This is the real bounty.
What the fuck is that doing here?
Watch it.
You give it blood. That's exactly what you need to do.
For the same wind that seeks to blow out a fire may also cause it to spread.
You believe it does exist?
Set your mind at peace about it. What you did was right. For Galadriel. Are you acquainted with the work of Lord Celebrimbor? He's about to embark on a new project, one of singular importance. And we've decided that you will be working with him. But I'll allow you to explain the details, Lord Celebrimbor.
First, the big people. Now the stars. Almost like they're watching for something.
Warden.
All right. Dude. Yo! She's gonna jump right off the ship and swim back.
How am I to know which lights to follow?
Sometimes we cannot know until we have touched the darkness.
Yep, there she goes. That's a long swim, man. Ooh, and that's an omen right there. Dude. Holy shit, that was awesome. That was a great intro, man. That was a really good first episode. Setting the stage a little bit, like, of everything that's kind of come and gone during this period. And kind of where everybody's, like, heads are still kind of at. We got people who are just trying to move on and progress. We got people like lingering and still fearful of what's to come, like Galadriel, and then even like the elves that are stationed out in the realms of men and all that, kind of being so wary about them having chosen to side with Melkor/Morgoth earlier on, and still kind of resenting them for that and kind of keeping charge over them, not really allowing them room to kind of grow or outgrow even that stigma that is still kind of following them around. But I think it's more than obvious that it'll take me a minute to get everybody's names, because there's only a few key players whose names I definitely know, like Celebrimbor, Galadriel, Elrond, obviously Sauron. But so far, like, everybody else is like, I just have like no really recollection of at all so far. I know some characters have been created specifically for the show, because a lot of this period isn't covered or fleshed out in immense detail at all, even in the Silmarillion and the unfinished tales and all that jazz, even the appendices, all that. It's still very bare bones. But yeah, I thought this was really solid. It's beautiful, man. You know, in the trailers, I thought some of the scenes looked like you could definitely like see the distinguishment between like the backdrops and all that. But I think that was a lot more well blended here in this than even in the trailers. Of course, given when the trailers come out, it gives them more time to keep continuing to work on this and stuff. But I loved the visuals in this. I loved the pace. I had seen some people that got to see this early say it was really quick and kind of like thundered through a lot of things, and kind of only in setting up where everybody's at, like in the opening, kind of by hitting some of those beats with like the war with Morgoth and like the elves and Valinor and the trees and the destruction, like kind of skirting over the first stage and then the transition into where we're at now, which is fine. I didn't really feel like it skirted past anything or like not undercut, but rushed anything. I think that's kind of, the story is about where we're at right now. So I'm more than fine with how this kind of approached parsing out a lot of that information. And I like how we got a lot of varying perspectives and a lot of very unique positions across Middle-earth that we're following with these various characters and their own kind of like personal journeys, like this rot, this poison that is plaguing the area of the Southlands, and then the grass, the well, the cow, now oozing this black tar, and then finding that city, that village where that healer woman was from, as she was following Arondir to there, and it was just burned to the ground. And then, we have the Harfoots who are just kind of like living in their ways. People are crossing paths where they shouldn't. Things are just, Middle-earth is moving in a way that it's really just kind of setting the stage for what is to come. Like, Middle-earth itself is feeling this change, metaphysically speaking. Like, they're running through, there's those hounds. I forget exactly what they were called. We only got a very short glimpse of it, but it did like remind me of the ones that are traveling with like the Uruk-hai and the orcs and like the main trilogy. Could be something else, but it did remind me. It evoked that memory, so that's kind of what I was thinking of. And the mystery of where the orcs had gone and all of that is still kind of up in the air. Where are they hiding? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Cotton Eye Joe? I don't know. So it just seems like they're looming in the distance ever so subtly. Then, the stars were awake during the day as it was observed. We've got, people in positions of power. We got people in positions with the people. We got people who are just isolated, like the Harfoots. We got a nice varied perspective from everybody around, seeing very different things happening in the world. And then this falling star, shooting star, comes down in and crash lands. Meteorite. But, it's a person. Wonder who that is. Anyway, I'm very curious to see how this parses out, but I really like this. I will say, from what I recall about Galadriel, the warrior aspect of it and her being a formidable soldier was very much implanted in what I recall. The thing is, like, she always wanted to have, like, a land of her own to rule. That was kind of like one of her driving things. She wanted to carve out her own path so much. And I feel like, this is a much younger Galadriel, but, like, that, from what I remember, too, she's always kind of, even back when she was still in Valinor, that she wanted and craved something for herself when she followed not followed, but, like, was inspired by Fëanor to kind of move off and do their own thing and not beholden to this cage that they were put in. But then, she went over, whatever. I know she didn't ever make it back until the end. But, like, after she had pretty much accomplished everything she had ever set out to do. But I don't recall any of that ever really being, at least in a primary way, stamping out evil or anything. No altruistic, at least in her younger years, no altruistic aspect of her aspirations were there. But, obviously, as we see later in the years, she plays a major key role in aiding the Fellowship, succeed in their destruction of the One Ring. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see this evolution, see where they go with this, because a lot of her history has ever changing. Even like Tolkien himself has kind of like been wishy-washy on what he intended to do with Galadriel. over the years. Even with Christopher Tolkien kind of commenting on it here and there, but yeah. I mean, still, even so, and I've said this in my live streams, I've said this in the past, Galadriel's one of my favorite characters from the lore itself. And I know there's debatably people more interesting than her or whatever, but I've always been fascinated with her drive and her story and her kind of like power and prowess, as well as her ethereal nature to her. So this is really interesting to see like a younger, more rash and brash version of her, which also was kind of like how she was described in her early years as well. But still, I don't know. I'm really excited to see what they do with her specifically. And then, once we get to the rings, man, that's what I'm looking for, is to see how Sauron creeps his way in. We're already seeing like the it's funny too, like the timing is perfect, and that's the thing about like this series. It's all mythologically based and inspired and fated. So like Galadriel is just almost out of the picture when everything, like all her worries and concerns, have been kind of like pushed to the side, and she's almost out of the picture. Her happy ending to just kind of leave it all behind, even though she's still carrying that around with her, as she said, like being there doesn't change her or what's in her. It just becomes unchanging when she's there. But still, she would be returned home and she'd be with the light and all that stuff and in the Undying Lands and whatever. And she'd put all that behind. Just as she's almost out of there is when everything back home is starting to prove her right. Even though, Elrond and who was that? I can't remember. I think that's Gil-Galad, right? Gil-Galad? How do you even say that? I've never really heard it said out loud. I was looking at the character descriptions before going into the episode to kind of give myself a little bit. Yeah, Gil-Galad. I remember very little about him, to be completely honest. He knew she was right, or at least felt that she was right, and still kind of plotted with Elrond to just kind of get her happy ending. So it is a little backhanded, but well, there it is. We got our early falling leaf, and then a corruption there within. The whole opening, though, with her crawling through the frozen wastelands and all that stuff, hiking and just tracking these clues of Sauron to the bitter ends of the Middle Earth was really visually stunning, but also just kind of like, I don't know, a testimony to like her drive. And just, we got fought a snow troll. Again, the visuals in this is just gorgeous. Like, I thought they did a really good job bringing all this to life. And it kind of, for the most part, all of it so far is kind of how I've imagined it in my head. Like, a lot of it does pull from a lot of similar illustrations that I've seen, but bring it. I'm down. Guys, what'd you think? Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We can talk about it there as well. Links to that and all my socials are down below. Follow me in each and every one of those. Remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction to this, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, gets you access as well. And speaking of, before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori, Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Melita, Robert Anguiano, and Raven McGann. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. But that's it for this episode, guys, and I'll see you all with the next one tomorrow. But guys, that's it for this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow with episode 2, and then next week with episode 3. Take care, everybody.